because of Filecoin and Helium that we decided that it makes sense to try this new approach, the DEPIN, the decentralized physical network approach that we're doing today with WeatherXM.
Hello everyone, welcome back. Today I am here with Manos and I am super excited to have him on because he's one of a few projects which is actually hardware. I'm a big hardware fan. Welcome, Manos. Very happy to have you.
Happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Wonderful. Let's jump right in.
We were 4 colleagues. We were working in a research facility as computer engineers.
How long did it take to develop your own hardware?
Weather stations are really legacy, old school technology because they are designed for governance and universities. So that's around 2015. And to answer your question, in 2000, after we had assembled a lot of Frankenstein hardware, like we were combining 3D printing plastics and combining components and writing our own firmware and hacking existing PCBs so we can add or change functionality. It was in 2008 that we decided we're going to do our own thing from scratch and put it into mass manufacturing. And we applied to HAX. HAX is the largest or most famous hardware accelerator. And we went to Shenzhen. 4 people from the team relocated to Shenzhen for 4 months in an effort to build our own weather station from scratch. And I have parts of the first prototype. These are some parts. There were many versions of this, but it essentially evolved into this PCB, which supports LoRaWAN. It has 4G from the top and Wi-Fi Bluetooth, which is that's what we thought at the time was the most important aspect, to have multiple communication protocols. And also we innovated in a number of things. We tried to design our own solid state sensors so we can detect precipitation and hail and a number of other things and without having any moving parts. So we created a lot of low-level sensors that we were hoping with machine learning we could train them to be accurate, even though the sensors started from scratch by our design. Long story short, this consumed the entire 2008 and a lot of energy from our end. And this product never made it to mass production. So we just had engineering samples. We collaborated with factories, but we never put it into production. We stopped that effort and went to existing off-the-market products, and we modified the electronics and the firmware and branded it as ours. Well, we've done a huge pivot since then. The crypto pivot, we did that in 2000. We didn't only change completely the business model. We had to do a major change in the hardware and create a hardware that didn't exist, which is a weather station that has cryptographic proofs. So it's a weather station that signs the payload, signs the data of the sensors with a crypto chip. So it can prove later. So the data that we produce, we can prove that they were produced by this specific device at that specific point in time from that specific location, because we also have GPS data and secure communication between the microcontroller and the GPS. With our own PCB, with our own firmware, it was very easy to just add the crypto element to this.
True.
So we were looking at IPFS as a cool technology. And then we were looking at Filecoin as a cool business model, a utility attached to, and then Helium. And we were thinking like, well, we can combine the 3 concepts like Filecoin, Helium, and weather into what you see today, basically.
The device behind you, is it the newest prototype? Is it the current thing which you guys are selling?
So this one on my head, that's the first generation. But this one here is actually one of the oldest ones. So this is what we were selling before we did the crypto pivot. So this is the M5 stack. We combined this with those outdoor sensors, and that is today the Wi-Fi solution. Then we did. This is the second version of our second family of hardware. This is the Helium compatible one. So this is autonomous in the sense that it doesn't require any other gateway than the Helium gateway, which they are distributed already. So it works as is. And the latest version is this one. So this is in a way an improved version of what we had a few years ago.
I see.
We've built this again in a collaboration with another company, and we are doing the firmware from scratch.
It looks very slick.
It's very sexy. It has this is the solar panel, and it's very modular. So it has 2 slots here that you can insert cartridges that support different protocols. And the beauty here is that we can support many different types of weather equipment, weather stations, weather sensors. So we can move closer to industrial use cases because we have a lot of customers now that are asking for more expensive, let's say, equipment. And that opens the door to that. So the first ever prototype, our proof of concept that we did, was having one of the weather stations connecting directly to IPFS and offloading the weather data assigned there. And there, okay, so who cares? Like, okay, maybe that's cool from a technology perspective, but we were trying to make some sense, business sense out of this. So we thought, okay, let's connect this with a chain link, with using the chain link protocol. Let's connect it to an Ethereum smart contract that is pretending to be a parametric weather insurance.
Okay.
So we did a very simple proof. You buy some kind of weather protection, and that protection is triggered by the hardware directly, and you get a compensation without having to have an entity in the middle. And we released this as an open source project, so it's somewhere at 2009. And so Consensus and Protocol Labs came to us and suggested that we should pursue this as a venture, as a startup idea. So we joined the Tachyon Accelerator, which was Consensus and Protocol Labs made. And that's basically when the project had formed in the figure that you see today. Practically in 2000. So I think WeatherXM as a website was launched then in 2000. At the end of 2000, we did our first fundraise, proper fundraise, seed round, because the accelerators were giving us some capital as well, but obviously it was very limited. So at the end of 2000, we did a funding round of 5 million. We decided to found the company in Switzerland. We created the company in 2000. We received the capital from the funding round, and we are separating the network from the company. We founded the association in Switzerland that is in charge of the network. That's the legal wrapper of the DAO. We have a very good distribution on a worldwide scale. That's visible in the Explorer, the WeatherXM. What we're selling at the $4 range, what we're selling is a low-cost, all-in-one personal weather station, essentially. So it's already a stretch to use that hardware for industrial applications. So we have customers where the cost of deployment is multiple times higher than the cost of the hardware. So
that makes no sense.
If they have to visit the space again to do a repair or something, it doesn't make sense for them to have so cheap hardware. They would rather spend, 5-10 times more and never have to visit the place again. That hardware is perfectly suited for the community approach, where you put the weather station to your backyard, and if something goes wrong, it's easy. You can maintain it, clean it, or you replace a component, or you change the batteries. We do want to see our network evolve, places that don't have weather infrastructure, because we come from a poor place ourselves. The way to solve this problem is not by dropping the cost of the hardware lower, because we think it's already quite low, but it's trying different business models. We have been working on this idea of decoupling the owner from the operator of a weather station. We want to have somebody paying for the capital expense of the hardware, benefiting from the rewards, but transferring the operation burden to a different person, to somebody in a developing country that actually needs the weather data more than the owner of the station, who's probably in a rich country that has decent weather infrastructure.
That's actually super interesting. Didn't cross my mind directly as an option.
Yes. The parametric weather insurance stuff that we have been exploring, or obviously we have continued to explore, or other ways that we can produce weather services that are meaningful for B2B companies, Web2 companies as well. Because, at the end of the day, we produce weather data, we produce improved weather forecasts, and that's a service that a lot of companies need, and they don't care how it is made, and they don't care about the crypto aspect of things. They just want the weather data in areas that no weather data existed, or a more accurate weather forecast. We have enough in our plate, and it's going to be an exciting year for all crypto projects anyway.
Totally. Definitely looks like an exciting year ahead of you guys. Everybody go check the WeatherXM, because the devices look awesome. And you can have your own weather station. Who can say that? Come on. Thank you very much, Manos.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Bye.